Imagine designing a CNC furniture piece that you could easily modify by having a different height, width, length, or fit different material thicknesses without redesigning each component and joint. We have experience making more than 300 CNC designs that we can modify by changing a couple of numbers in a user parameter spreadsheet. So our goal for today is to design this simple kids chair with a built-in storage box that you can access by lifting a seat. Knowing exactly what you want to achieve before starting to design can save you a lot of time. It's also essential when setting up the user parameters for your design. When creating a CNC project, the first two user parameters I always set are the material thickness and the router bit diameter. For CNC furniture, it's nice to have the option to modify the joinery dimensions to fit exact material thickness. For this project, I'm also creating a user parameter for the overall chair height, the seat height, the depth of the storage box, the width of the chair, and the depth of the seat. When I have specified the main user parameters for the project, I usually create two components. The first one I name as layout and the second one as assembled. These will serve as the folders where we can organize and manage each project part. Now we have the main setup tasks done and we can choose the approach we want to use when creating the design. The first option is creating a simplistic 3D chair model and then adding the joinery to each body. With this approach, it might be easier to create a design, but it can get confusing very quickly in case you have to make any modifications to the project. The second approach is creating the design one component at a time. So each part is a separate component with an individual sketch that doesn't rely on the previous component's features. This approach can take longer, but it gives you more freedom to modify the design. Some projects can be a mixture of both approaches. However, this time I will show you how to design the chair with the second approach, creating the project one component at a time. And the first part we will work on is one of the chair's side components. As the first step, we can right-click on the layout component at the sidebar, select the create new component option and name it side part. Before creating a new sketch, let's double check if the side part component is activated. Then we can select create new sketch from the drop down menu and select X and Y plane to work on. Then we can draw a rectangle using construction lines. It will help us to define the dimensions we had set before. So we can add the dimension at the side of the rectangle and write down chair height in the value window. Now it will link the dimension to the value specified in the user parameters. If we change the value, it would automatically modify the sketch. We can add more construction lines to the sketch. First I add a vertical line at the right side of the rectangle, and we can specify the distance between the construction lines and write seat depth in the value window. Again, it will link the sketch with the user parameter spreadsheet. Now we can add more construction lines to the sketch, this time horizontal. The distance between the two top lines and the two bottom lines will be set as plywood. These construction lines will be guides for placing the seat and the bottom of the storage box. Now we can add more dimensions to specify the seat height and the depth of the storage box. When that is done, I'm adding more construction lines marking where the box front and back walls will be placed. Again, I specify the distance between the construction lines with the plywood user parameter. I'm adding a 13mm gap between the front of the box and the chair's front edge. The back wall placement will be dependent on the depth of the chair. When the main dimensions for the seating area are specified, we can work on the backrest. I'm adding the construction lines to help us position the backrest component. To make the chair comfortable, you want the angle between the seat and the backrest to be between 95 and 110 degrees. So now we have the main frame for the chair's side component ready, and we can start working on the shapes of the part. I will quickly add more construction lines and dimensions to help us with that. You can make the shape of the chair to your preference, but for the illustration's sake, I will keep mine as simple as possible. When the construction lines are in place, we can trace the component outlines with the sketch lines. The start and end points of each sketch line have to be coincidental. It ensures the sketch lines adjust to the changes in user parameters alongside the construction lines. Once we have traced the side component contour lines, we can specify the places for the joinery. First, I draw a rectangle for the front panel mortise. Again, the rectangle sides must be collinear with the sketch lines. Now we can specify the width of the mortise. I will add 20mm from the bottom of the seat component and 20mm from the bottom of the box floor. I repeat the same steps for the box floor and the backrest. For us to be able to lift the seat component, I will create this simple hinge joint. So I place a circle where the seat part and the box back wall intersect and draw a small rectangle inside it. By specifying the width of the rectangle, we can change how long the hinge joint will be. I will leave it at 20 mm. It leaves us with this much room for the box back panel. So I will make the mortise hole accordingly. Now we have the sketch of the side component complete and can make the extrusion. When doing so, we must link the extrusion dimension to the plywood thickness in the user parameters. To create a nice side surface, I'm creating a new sketch at the back of the component. Now I can select the joint holes and extrude them at -3 mm. It joins the new extrusions to the body we already have. Now we can add fillets to the corners of the part, creating a better looking shape. The hardest part of this project is complete and we can start working on the remaining components. So I'm right clicking on the layout component at the left part to create a new component. For the next part, let's create the front panel. We start by drawing a rectangle using the construction lines and specify the dimensions. It's important to specify the value using the user parameters. So the width of the rectangle should be the same as the width of the chair. For the height of the rectangle, I'm adding the box height plus plywood thickness in the dimensions value window. Remember, we want the front part to cover the storage box floor. Now I'm adding a construction line that will help us when drawing the joint's tenon, and another line in the middle of the rectangle. It will serve as a mirror line later. Now we can specify the distance between the tenon's shoulder and the rectangle side as the plywood thickness, and add a sketch line with the approximate size of the tenon. Then we can specify the joint shoulders at 20 mm on both sides of the tenon. Since we closed up the mortise holes when making the chair side component, we have to add a 4 mm distance between the tenon and the side of the rectangle. Now we can double click on the sketch line and select the mirror tool. After selecting the mirror line we drew earlier, we are almost done with the cover part. To be able to extrude the component, I'm double clicking on the rectangle and pressing X on my keyboard. It turns the construction line into a sketch line. Now we can extrude the front cover component, again specifying the extrusion distance as plywood thickness from the user parameters. To ensure the parts fit together well, I'm activating the assembled component and copying and pasting both of the components. And after joining both parts together, we can see that everything seems to be working well. Since the backrest part and the back of the chair are very similar to the chair's front panel, I'm copying the front part and right-clicking on the work surface. After selecting the Paste New option, we have a new component we can modify without affecting the part we copied. So I'm renaming the new part as the backrest. Now I can activate the sketch and make modifications to the height of the part as well as the size of the tenon. After clicking Finish Sketch, we have the part for the backrest complete. To see how it fits, we can copy it to the assembled component and join it with the rest of the assembly. I'm going through the same exact steps to make the part for the back of the storage box, pasting a new part, modifying the sketch, and test fitting it with the assembly. Now we have to design the floor of the storage box, so I'm creating a new component and starting a new sketch. Again, as the first step, I draw a rectangle with the construction lines and a line that will assist when drawing the joinery. Since the floor panel will be symmetrical both vertically and horizontally, I'm adding two middle lines to the rectangles. Now we can add the previously specified dimensions to the sketch. To specify the height of the part, we have to add the formula in the value of the dimension. So I'm writing down the depth of the chair minus 13 mm minus plywood thickness times 2. Now the floor part should fit between the chair's front and the back panel. I'm drawing one of the tenons with the sketch line and stopping at the middle of the part. After specifying the size of the tenon, I can mirror the sketch line using the horizontal line and the vertical line as a reference. And after turning the rectangle construction line into a sketch line, we can extrude the part by specifying the plywood as the thickness. The box floor panel fits nicely between the other components and the joinery lines up as well. The last part we have to design is the seat, so I'm creating a new component in the layout folder and starting a new sketch. By this time you probably know what the next steps are: rectangle, construction line for the joints, and specifying the dimensions according to the user parameters. As the height of the rectangle, I'm adding the depth of the seat parameter. Now we can add the sketch line to draw the contour of the part. First I draw the features for the hinge joint and then the rest of the part. To ensure the hinge mechanism work well, we have to set the width of the tenon as we have specified when creating the cutout for it. The gap between the chair's side part and the seat ensures the components won't brush against each other while opening the chair's storage component. Now we can mirror the outline, create the extrusion, and add a couple of fillets to the seat tenon and at the front of the panel. To see if everything fits well, I'm making a copy of the seat part in the assembled component and joining the seat with the chair's side part with a revolute type of joint. It looks good. I have to ground one of the chair components to move the seat part in the assembly. To finish the chair, we need to have the other side component. So I'm activating the layout component and selecting the mirror tool from the drop-down menu. Here we can select what we would like to mirror. In this case, I'm selecting the component option. Now we can select the chair side component and choose a mirror plane. I usually pick one of the component edges. We can copy the new part to the assembly and add it to the chair. So far so good. Now we can test our design by playing around with the user parameters. If everything is designed properly, we shouldn't have any problems when changing the parameters. And it looks like our chair project works just fine. So now if we need to make any modifications to the design before making the project, we can do it with a couple of clicks in the user parameters section. But the only way to be sure if the project is worth making is by creating the prototype. So I'm loading a sheet of plywood on the CNC and cutting the parts. Before test assembling, I have to trim all the component edges. And now is the moment of truth, assembling. I quickly add the box components to one of the chair side parts and insert the backrest component. Then we can attach the seat part and add the other chair side component. And it looks just as good as it did in the Fusion 360. So now you know exactly how you could create a parametric design for your next CNC projects. I hope you found value in this tutorial. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.